Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are taking our very first look at the brand new Tier 8 Italian cruiser Michelangelo. So without further ado, let's look at our commander. We're running Azure Lane Zara. I know you guys can make fun of me if you want. We're running an SAP build as you'd expect, but we're running Haruna and Von Hipper as our inspirations because memes, right? I know that it's dumb. I know it's probably not the smartest play, but it is kind of funny. We are running Beyond Range, Enargius Intrepida, Fortified, Fixated, and Fully Packed. Now, as for our equipment, we are running Aiming Systems Mod 1, Steering Gears Mod 2, Concealment System Mod, Main Battery Mod 3. I forgot to make this an Epic mod. I would recommend an Epic mod for this, especially the SAP, just due to the fact you do get a 2-second slower reload time with SAP. And of course I am running SAP. For our consumables, we have the Repair Party. You could swap this out for Defensive AA or Sonar, but honestly, the Repair Party does come in handy, so as a solo player, that's what I go with. We have our exhaust smokes. We have 3 of those. And we have an enhanced secondary targeting booster. We are running the Italian Unity flag, because if you squint just right, kind of looks like a Spartan helmet. And we're running the camo that comes with the ship. Survivability, 67,590 hit points, so pretty solid for a cruiser. That's quite a bit of hit points. To put that into perspective, that is almost Tier 7 battleships, sort of. I mean, it's actually got more hit points than some Tier 7 battleships, so she got some health. Artillery, you have 2 quad 320mm 44 caliber auto model 1935s. That is battleship caliber guns. Keep that in mind. That is, I believe, 13-inch guns. Firing range is 16.9 kilometers with this build. You could get that out to almost 18 kilometers if you go with a Kuznetsov as your inspiration and go for a more main gun centric. But you'll see why I don't go for the main gun centric build too much. Reload is 21.6 seconds with this build. Again, running the Epic mod will make that a little bit better. 180-degree turn time is 26.5 seconds, so not terrible, but not great. Keep in mind, these are battleship guns, so it's to be expected they're going to be a little bit slower. So for battleship guns, not too bad. AP shell maximum damage, 9,700. That seems low for battleship caliber guns. Considering these are 13-inch guns, I would expect that to be a little bit higher. I don't know why it's so low, but whatever. And then SAP shells, maximum damage is 9,928. Secondary armament, you have 20 90mm 50 caliber auto 1939s reaching out to 8.1 kilometers with this build with a reload of 4.2 seconds and a maximum SAP damage of 1900. That's correct. Not only do you have main guns that are SAP, but you also have secondaries that shoot SAP. And on top of that, you also have 152mm 55 caliber model 1935. You get 12 of those firing out to 8.1 kilometers. You have a light cruiser strapped to either side of your ship. Actually, not either side of your ship. You have a light cruiser strapped to a battle cruiser with a reload of 9.6 seconds and an SAP maximum damage of 3650. Torpedoes. You get a triple launcher on either side of the ship. They actually have fantastic firing angles, and they're all the way at the back, meaning they tend to survive long enough to use them. Reload is 120 seconds. They damage is 20,433, which is stupid amount of damage for 533mm torpedoes. And then on top of that, you also get a 1.7 detectability, which is to be expected because these are fast torpedoes, 72 knots of torp speed, but they're only 8 kilometers. That's the caveat. Good defensive torpedoes, that's about it. But for a 533mm torpedo, those things hit like frickin' trucks. Put that into perspective, that is 3,000 damage less than a Shimakaze torpedo, which is 630mm. That's 100 millimeters more. Or is it 610? Either way, doesn't matter. These hit like trucks, okay? If you can land any. AA defense, you have 20 millimeter 70 caliber Beretta 1949s. You get 48 of those, reaching out to doing 50 damage per second, reaching out to 2 kilometers. Then you have 37 millimeter 54 caliber Beretta 1938s. Get 24 of those, doing 139 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. And then you have the 90 millimeter 50 caliber Auto 1939 dual purpose secondaries. You get 20 of those, doing 135 damage per second, reaching out to 4 kilometers. Maneuverability, 33.5 knots at top speed. You can get that higher if you want. Turning circle radius is 830 meters, so not great, not terrible. Rudder shift time of 8.6 seconds with this build. It is 10 seconds normally, but I choose steering gear rather than propulsion mod, and that allows me to get a little bit faster rudder shift. Concealment. Detectability by sea is 10.6, so not bad, especially considering this thing is a battle cruiser essentially. Detectability by air is 6.7 kilometers. Guaranteed is always 2, and then detectability while firing in smoke is 7.4 kilometers with 13-inch guns. Kind of crazy. But, yeah, let's keep it going. Haven't played a lot of this ship yet. We've just had a little bit of fun. I've won both games that I've been in, and we've had quite a bit of fun in both games. So, the first game I did more of a standard build, and the second game I did a full secondary build. So the one you're going to see is going to be the full secondary build. Armor. Bow and stern plating is 25 millimeters, meaning anything 15 inches and above overmatches you. So keep that in mind. You want to bait people into shooting your belt, which is easy to do because if you want to use your main guns, they're in the middle of the ship. This looks like something straight out of Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. I'm not going to lie. This ship is hideous, but I love it so far. It does have a raised citadel, as you'd expect out of an Italian cruiser. So keep that in mind, or an Italian battleship for that matter. They both do. But it has a decent armor belt to protect you from being stupid. And again, you are going to get caught. This is very flat armor. It's not angled. So anytime you get over-angled, anything with enough pins is going to go through, and when it does, you're going to get hurt. But you do not want to bow tank people in these ships, because again, 15-inch guns, or 15-inch guns and above can overmatch going straight through and dealing pretty nasty damage. But yeah, look at where the main guns are. You got 2 quad turrets right in the middle of the ship, and then you have secondaries everywhere else. And this is why I say that you have a light cruiser strapped to your ship. There are 2 quad 152 millimeter guns at the front, 1 quad 152 millimeter gun at the rear. That is 12 152 millimeter guns. And then, of course, you got the smaller 90 millimeter guns all down the side, anti-aircraft, dual purpose, whatever you want to call it. They're all down each side. So you get a little bit of those in there for good measure. But those 152 millimeter SAP guns are pretty hilarious. Overview. Big guns. The ship is armed with high caliber main battery guns. That is true. Secondary reach, above average secondary battery range. That is also true. But this is a cruiser, so getting within secondary range can be a bit of an interesting scenario. But it does end pretty hilariously. SAP shells, equipped or can be equipped with SAP shells that deal consistent damage, ricochet less, but can't start fires. Michelangelo. The Washington Naval Conference gave Italy the opportunity to build battleships from 1927. Several projects with displacements between 18,000 and 35,000 tons were under development simultaneously. Some of the projects relied on foreign designs, the Hood, Nelson, and Dunkirk, but some were unique. The design proposed by Admiral DeFeo, we'll go with Feo. Admiral DeFeo featured a ship with 8 12.6. Okay, so not quite 13-inch guns, but still, big guns. In quadruple gun turrets placed close to midship frames, and the secondary battery mounts were moved forward to the ship's fore and aft ends. She was designed in 1934. I don't think she was ever built, but again, interesting design for sure. Something straight out of what I would do on Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts, to be perfectly honest. This is kind of hilarious. Like I said, you've got a light cruiser with battleship guns in the middle of the ship. That's essentially what you have here. But, with that being said, I mean, she's not a good-looking ship. Not the worst, but not a good-looking ship. I do like the camo though. This camo is pretty sick, and I like the gold Michelangelo at the back of the ship too. But yeah, with that being said, let's get to our gameplay. Alrighty, so we're gonna be on Tears of the Desert in the brand new Michelangelo, and we are going to go full throttle and go crazy in this match. And I want to showcase a couple of things. First of all, I want to showcase that you don't need to necessarily build into accuracy into the main guns, and you can have decent enough accuracy. This is a cruiser after all, so you're going to have better accuracy than most. The accuracy of the main guns has been trolly, as you'd expect out of any Italian battleship caliber guns, but they're still good enough, right? Like, I haven't had too much trouble dealing damage with the main guns. But I went full secondary build. After our first match, I ended up against 5 destroyers and got to absolutely annihilate 2 of them right out the gate with a non-secondary build because they got within 7 kilometers of my my cruiser. And again, that's where the smoke comes in handy. This smoke screen allows you to YOLO rush into destroyers and potentially battleships, but usually destroyers. And allows you to be a lot more aggressive than you would normally be in, say, something else. But we are going to have a Z-52 over here. We're going to push forward, and the enemy is going to make a critical mistake. One of the things that we always talk about is trying to win your side, hold your side, but don't give up a flank, right? That's the main thing. You don't want to give up a flank. Now, right off the bat, as soon as everybody gets spotted, you're going to see that the enemy is doing exactly that. They are giving up this flank. GK is running away from the middle, going to the other side. That's fine. You'd expect usually 1 or 2 of the people that spawn mid to come this way, and then everybody else would be, like, there'd be 2 or 3 people that are spawned over here. But no, everybody is running. Every single person that is over here is running away, except this Yamato. Now, unfortunately for this Yamato, he does not realize the amount of pain he's about to be in. Now, as we push out, again, I have to assume that I'm going to get spotted here. So we are going to use our first smoke screen in order to get across this gap. And this is what I'm talking about, using the smoke screen to put yourself into positions you wouldn't normally be able to get to, right? Now, as we come around the corner, we do have a potential look at this Yamato. I'm worried about firing my guns because I don't know if there's a destroyer here. There's nobody in the cap, but I don't know if there's a destroyer here. The only thing that's been spotted, people running away, and Yamato. Now, I go ahead and I load up AP here. I could have fired at those battleships over there, but I load up AP for one reason. Look at the positioning of this Yamato. And you can see I'm already turning out to get my guns on target and be able to use this AP on the broadside of that Yamato. We are within 8 kilometers, and we have battleship caliber guns. Now, by the time we get this shot, unfortunately, the Yamato is going to be turning away, and that's going to limit the amount of damage we could have gotten here. I was hoping that we'd have enough pin to go through and Citadel this man, but it doesn't seem to be the case, as we get 3 overpins somehow. Shooting at the belt of a freaking Yama, we managed to overpin it with 12.6-inch guns. But this Yamato's only firing HE, and this is something you guys got to stop doing. If you're in a Yamato and you're firing HE at anything that's not a destroyer, you're doing it wrong. And I will take that to the grave. But more importantly, you're going to take it to the grave because you're an idiot. Sorry. I'm not saying this guy's an idiot. I'm saying people that shoot HE out of their Yamato and Musashi are idiots. Period. Alright? Stop doing it. I don't understand what the point of people getting these ships and then spamming HE is. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever. And because he's shooting nothing but HE, I'm just gonna get all my guns on target. You can see Z-52 is telling me, get back, run away, don't do it. This guy has shown me absolutely nothing to fear. Now, the one thing I will have to say that I do fear is the fact he's got teammates that are in range to shoot me. Remember, we only have 17 kilometers of range, meaning there are battleships with more range than us that are going to be able to hit us from further than we can hit them, right? And right now, we're spotted by this Yamato. But as we get shot at here, you can see I'm looking. I know I'm going to be taking some hits, but it's all HE. Everybody's shooting HE like complete doofuses. But you can see our secondaries are doing damage. And here's the funniest part. Boop! We get a close quarters by killing a Yamato with secondaries from a cruiser. How many people can say that? Like, how many people can honestly say that they killed a Yamato with the secondaries of a cruiser? I would argue that there's very few people. But you can see we have a full health Z-52. We've had nothing to fear. Our teammates are doing the right thing. Rather than chasing this single ship around the map, they let me chase the guy. And now we've set up a crossfire, set up a flank on this flank. And they have pushed into the center to be able to shoot at things from the center. So as we push across the map, and again, we're at a cruiser, so taking this guy out was a priority. But now we're in a position where we are going to be in a beautiful crossfire on the enemy team. And so we're going to get to showcase the SAP as well as the AP in this battle, because we already showed that the AP is okay. We didn't manage to Citadel the Yamato, but I would argue that was mostly just due to the unfortunate side effect of him turning away. We did try to go through the rear. We weren't shattering, so it's got enough pin to do it. It's got decent enough pin angles, I suppose. But as GK comes around the corner, we're going to aim high. We don't want to hit the belt with this SAP. But we're trying to get as many shells on target as possible. And you can see, any of the SAP from these guns that does hit is going to pin. Like, this is battleship caliber SAP, right? So, anytime that these shells do hit the target, they are going to pin. Now, the downside is that they're not the most accurate. And you can see we get a couple of hits from the Yamato, but we're not too worried about him. But we're trying to place them into the center of the ship where the secondary, or where his conning tower is, his superstructure is, to try to get as many pins as possible. He does slow down and stop. Our team is all shooting him. And you can see I'm going to aim for the rear tower here, rear smokestack. And just as we fire the guns, the enemy Z-52 gets spotted. Now, let's let the secondaries go to work on this Z-52. Watch this man's health as we start landing hits. That is disgusting. That is why I built into the secondaries on this thing, because countering destroyers with the SAP secondaries is hilarious. Like I said, you literally have a light cruiser strapped to your ship. And then we get the main guns out, and we crush them with the main guns. Now, we only get 3 hits there, but still. Between our secondaries and the primaries, we have taken everything that this man has to give. Unfortunately, Brisbane ends up yoinking the kill. But that's when we see Mino ahead of us. Secondary's already starting to target the Mino. We don't have our secondary booster anymore, but we do have our main guns, and we are loading AP. And these are battleship caliber guns that definitely overmatch the Mino. We are going to play to the fact that this Mino may decide to YOLO rush us with torpedoes. Again, he has a boatload of them, so it makes sense. But we're going to go through the bow, and we're going to get very unlucky. We get 3 hits, 4 hits technically, but only 3 of them did any damage, and 2 of them were overpinned somehow while he's bow tanking. I don't understand how that works. But I know I'm in trouble here, because going broadside to a Mino is never a good idea. But I had to respect the fact that he has a lot more torps than we do, and we already used our torps off of this side. I was hoping to get the full citadels, and we only got 1. If we got 1 more citadel, he dies here, and we don't take all of this damage we're about to take. Being broadside to a Mino in anything is a bad idea. That thing has such stupid DPM, and you will just get absolutely punished for it. But as we try to turn away, we also have to deal with the fact that this guy's in a division, and we don't have the firing angles with the guns as we turn away. So, unfortunately, and then of course he's got a sonar as well, so we can't even disengage, unfortunately. I was going to let the secondaries just eat for a moment, but he is running his sonar. We get the front, or we finally get the rear guns back on target, and we're able to take him down, but we are burning twice. We get the front guns away, and look at that accuracy out of the front guns. That's what I'm saying. These guns are accurate enough. You don't need to build into accuracy as we get another Citadel. But this game could have turned out much better than it did. 120,000 damage. Like, if we did kill the Mino there, if we didn't get screwed on RNG, and we did actually kill the Mino in that dev strike, which should have been a dev strike, then we would have been able to absolutely murder those other 2 with relatively ease. Like, we'd have had our smoke screen, we wouldn't have been spotted by the Mino, we would have been able to not probably end up taking too much damage, and then it would have just been open season on a Brisbane, which we know we can kill. We just showed we killed the Mino pretty easily. But then the other thing is, I think it's a Carl, right? Is the other thing that's here. But either way, it doesn't matter. We had a fun game, and I think I did a pretty good job of showcasing the strengths and the weaknesses of the ship. And having those gun, like, angles in the middle of the ship like that is going to get a lot of people in trouble, because people aren't going to use their belt armor to protect them. They're going to just go broadside, and then they're going to get yeeted because they do have the raised citadel. So, I don't think it's a busted ship by any standard. Like, I truly don't. But, it is a fun, unique ship that, honestly, I'm okay with. I'll be real honest. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Again, there's not much that goes on here. These guys are going to chase this guy off the map. Nobody's going to get any more damage on him because he's just going to use smoke screens for the rest of the match. And these guys can't aim. So, we're just going to skip ahead to the end. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I've got plenty of other ships to test out in this update as well, so keep an eye on those videos for the next couple of days as we come up with fun, interesting new games for you guys to watch. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm not gonna lie. This is a fun little cruiser. Not gonna say it's the best, but it is fun. And for me, that means something, you know? Having something unique and fun is more than just having something that's completely busted or overpowered. Like, I enjoy having fun in this game. But 120,000 damage, top of the leaderboard, not too shabby. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, I will see you in the next video.